Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. You know, just a few days ago, we brought you our top 5 games of Week 1. A Week 1 that's going to be here before you know it. But after producing that video, we thought, hey, why don't we do this for all the conferences? Why don't we talk about the top 5 games from each conference? So today, guys, we're kicking off this series with the top 5 games in the Big Ten this season. An expanded Big Ten with Oregon, Washington, USC, and UCLA joining the mix. So again, guys, welcome back to the channel. We're so glad you could join us today. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Hit that notification button so you don't miss out on any of our future videos, including prediction season, which is going to be here before you know it really soon. Do not miss out on that. Also, make sure to check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home of our expert picks, which is home to some of the best college football spread picks in the entire country. Sign up for those today. Do not miss out on that. And also our mailing address to send us some of your team's gear. We'd love to add some more Big Ten gear back here. Everything that you see has been sent in by you guys, members of our GE Nation. We'd love to continue to add more to represent your team, to give you that shout out and expand our GE Nation from coast to coast, just like the Big Ten has expanded from literally coast to coast. So let's jump into these games, guys. I want to give you one honorable mention. We're going to go from 5 to 1, so from the 5th best game to the top game. But our honorable mention is the national championship rematch between Michigan and Washington, which is coming in Week 6 on October 5th. Obviously, this to me was not good enough to get into the top 5, solely due to the fact that, one, I don't have very lofty expectations for Washington this year, and two, these two teams are going to be so different. New coaches, significantly different rosters. Washington and Michigan losing tons of talent from those two teams that met in the national championship back in January. So, going to be a fun game. Michigan winning 34-13, back in the national title. Do I expect a similar result? I'm not going to go that far and say that right now. We don't really know what to expect from either of these teams. So many different changes, but certainly a game to watch out for. Anytime we are lucky enough to get to see a national title rematch, it is certainly worth watching. Going into the real countdown now. Coming in at number 5, I've got USC at Michigan. USC at Michigan. So talk about welcome to the Big Ten for USC. Welcome to the Big Ten for USC. Their first conference game, their first Big Ten conference opponent is going to be on the road at the Big House against the reigning national champions. Wow. Talk about the schedule makers doing you some great favors there. So Michigan and USC, though, both are going to be battle-tested coming into this game. The Wolverines will have already faced Texas in Week 2. USC will have already faced LSU in Las Vegas in Week 1. So both these teams are going to have faced quality opponents. They're going to have an opportunity by Week 4 on September 21st to have kind of worked out any issues they may have. Both these teams dealing with new quarterbacks. Both these teams dealing with new pieces on both sides of the ball. So a lot of questions here for both teams. This is an opportunity for USC to make a statement, to come on the road, upset the reigning national champs, a statement that, hey, we do belong in the Big Ten, and we're contenders not next year, not 2 years from now, but we're contenders now. This is a big game for Michigan, because obviously they have a lot of tough games on their schedule. And 2 losses, certainly 3, ruins any hopes of a college football playoff return trip and maybe any hopes of a Big Ten title. They got to play Texas. They got to play USC. They got to play Oregon. They got to play Ohio State. So they can't afford to slip up in their home games. Definitely can't afford to do that. Texas, USC, and Oregon all coming to the Big House. So that comes in at number 5. In at number 4, let's stay at the Big House. Oregon at Michigan. That's in Week 10 on November 2nd, their first meeting since 2007. So at this point of the season, guys, this is where things get interesting. At this point in the year, Oregon will have already played Ohio State. Obviously, Michigan will have not done that. And if you're really breaking down the top 3 teams in the Big Ten, you could argue, in no specific order, it's Ohio State, Oregon, and Michigan. So how those 3 teams fare against each other will really have a big impact on who wins the conference, who goes to the Big Ten championship, and maybe who even gets into the college football playoff. Oregon will have already played Ohio State. The standings are starting to take shape. But Michigan's going to have to play Oregon and Ohio State in the month of November alone. So can the Michigan defense handle this very electric Oregon offense led by Dylan Gabriel? Can the Ducks handle the environment of the Big House? This is a potential top 10 game to kick off November as the playoff rankings are starting to take form and the standings are starting to take form. This is a massive, massive game. Not only going to be one of the best in the Big Ten this year, but one of the best in the entire country. Number 3, Week 10, November 2nd, Ohio State at Penn State. Always a fun game between the Buckeyes in the Nittany Lions. It has been for nearly the last decade. Ohio State, I think, is the Big Ten favorite right now. Depending on who you ask, it's Ohio State or Oregon as probably the betting favorites to win the conference this year. And, you look at Penn State, this is the team that has consistently had talent under James Franklin. They've made New Year's Six bowl games. They flirted with the playoff, but have never gotten over the hump, have yet to make the playoff. And if they want to do it, they've got to beat Ohio State. Maybe the 12-team playoff won't make them beat the Buckeyes this year, but beating them would be a huge, huge step in the right direction. Since they beat Ohio State back in 2016, Penn State has lost 7 straight to the Buckeyes by an average of 8 points per game. That includes a 20-12 8-point loss just last year. So the Nittany Lions have come so close, but haven't been able to get over the hump since 2016, which was really the game that put Penn State back on the national map. So the question now is, can Penn State fix their offense? Can Drew Aller finally live up to the expectations? Can the new coordinators for Penn State start to gel? You would hope they can by week 10. Can the power of Happy Valley be enough to will the Nittany Lions to victory? It hasn't been in years past. The last couple years, maybe this year is what changes. So a massive, massive game in the Big Ten, an opportunity for Penn State to finally get over the hump, maybe solidify themselves as a Big Ten title favorite, maybe a playoff contender, but also create chaos, not just within the conference, but on the national stage as well. That's our number 3 game in the Big Ten this year. Coming in at number 2, Ohio State at Oregon. So the Buckeyes have to go to Penn State, and they've got to go to Oregon. So a tough road slate for the Buckeyes. This is in Week 7 on October 12th. So some big, big games in Week 7. Major playoff implications there. There's a very good chance that Ohio State and Oregon are both undefeated and maybe in the top 5 when this matchup rolls around on October 12th. Both should be undefeated. I think it would be a shock if either of these teams has a loss at this point in the season. So a potential top 5 matchup in Eugene, probably going to be the site of College Game Day. I mean, everything's going to fall right into place. The perennial Big Ten favorite, the perennial national title contender in Ohio State, going on the road to face Oregon in their first year within the conference. It was an opportunity to say Oregon's like, hey, we don't care where we play. We don't care what conference was in. We can win anywhere. Ohio State, remember, lost to Oregon in Columbus back in 2021. The return trip never happened because of COVID and all the wildness that we had to deal with there. But Oregon came into Columbus, beat Ohio State back in 2021. So maybe a revenge game for the Buckeyes. Maybe an opportunity to say Oregon be like, we can beat you at home, we can beat you on the road. We do not care. But it's going to be a great battle and a game that I think could be lower scoring than people think. Both these defenses are going to be very, very solid. And I think early on in this game, it's going to be like a couple fighters feeling each other out. We might not see either team eclipse 28 points in this game. It could be a pretty low-scoring affair. Going to be a very fun one to watch, one that will kind of set the tone for the last half of the season on who the best team in the Big Ten is, who's going to have that lead, who's going to control their own destiny throughout the rest of the season in the Big Ten, but also who's going to be the front runner to maybe get that first round bye in the college football playoff. The top 4 highest ranked conference champions get that first round bye. The winner of this game is going to put themselves in that position. A lot could change over the final 5-6 weeks, but this is a massive, massive game when it comes to that. And then finally, the number 1 game, it's kind of obvious, is the game. And you could argue that Ohio State and Oregon maybe should be the top game, and this one should be second. I think it could be called 1A and 1B. But it's hard not to put Ohio State and Michigan. Michigan at Ohio State this year as the number 1 game in the Big Ten. This has determined the winner of the Big Ten East the last couple of years, and very well could do the same again. At least could determine who makes it to the Big Ten championship game. Michigan has won 3 straight in this series, including a 30-24 win last year and a 45-23 victory the last time they came to Columbus. But you look at it on paper, we're not predicting games right now, but obviously Ohio State currently has the better roster. They dominated the transfer portal. They lost a handful of key players, but Michigan has tons of turnover and loses their head coach after winning the national title last year. Ohio State, they don't have that. They've got home field advantage. The Buckeyes sold out and said, we're tired of losing to Michigan. We're tired of missing out in the playoff. We're tired of not winning championships. This is the year we've got to do it. So the Buckeyes will have home field advantage, but can Michigan play spoiler? If at this point in the season both teams are undefeated, or one of them's a one-loss team, or both of them are one-loss teams, this game is big when it maybe comes to who plays for a Big Ten title. Maybe it's big when it comes to playoff seeding, but I would venture to say if those teams do have those records, both teams will get into the 12-team playoff. So it's really a matter of, do you get to host a game, Remember those first round games are going to be hosted on campus. So do you get to host a game? Do you have to go on the road? Do you get a bye? Do you not get a bye? Lots riding here. And even if both teams were winless, this is still arguably the greatest rivalry in all of college football. It's must-see TV. Michigan at Ohio State. Will Michigan make it 4 in a row, or will Ohio State end the streak and maybe find themselves in a spot to go on and win a national title? So there you go, guys. The top 5 games in the Big Ten entering 2024. Let us know if we missed any. Did we miss a big game? Are our rankings garbage? Are they great? Let us know down in the comments below. We're going to be doing this for all of the power conferences as we continue this series tomorrow and over the next couple of days. Get ready for those. Get ready for prediction season. Get ready for all the content coming your way, which is why you need to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share the videos, hit that notification button so you don't miss out on that future content. All the more reason to join our GE Nation by checking out our website, thegridironexpert.com, by sending us some of your team's gear to be represented in every single video and get that shout out. Of course, we expand our GE Nation from coast to coast. We want you, and you want to be here. You need to be here for the start of the season, which will be here before we know it. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on The Gridiron Expert.